The Galactic Empire tried to intimidate humans. We just laughed. The first messages came on a Tuesday. Radio astronomers at the Global Space Initiative in Busan noticed strange patterns cutting through background radiation. Dr. Tae-ho Kim was drinking his third coffee when the computer alerts began flashing. "Someone get Director Han in here now," he called out, eyes not leaving the screen. Within hours, the patterns had been confirmed as artificial. Within days, they had been decoded. The message was simple: prepare for arrival. The Galactic Empire acknowledges your existence. Earth's government scrambled. Military forces went on high alert. Religious leaders called for calm. Social media exploded with theories, memes, and panic. 1 week later, they came. The ships appeared suddenly. 3 massive vessels that emerged from what scientists would later call fold space. Each was shaped like a massive arrow, dark metal, gleaming against Earth's blue backdrop. The largest was nearly 2 kilometers long. Director Ji-ho Han of the Korean Space Agency was selected as part of the first contact team, along with representatives from 12 other nations. They gathered at a hastily prepared facility outside Gwangju. The alien delegation arrived in a smaller craft that landed with impossible precision. When the doors opened, Earth met its first extraterrestrials, tall, slender beings with blue-tinted skin and forearms. Their ambassador, who introduced himself as High Commander Rax, wore an elaborate uniform studded with what appeared to be living gems. "People of Earth," the translation device around his neck conveyed, "you stand in the presence of the Galactic Empire, ruler of 27 sentient species across 800 worlds." President Song was first to speak. "We welcome you to Earth and look forward to peaceful exchange." High Commander Rax seemed almost amused. "Exchange implies equality. Your species is being offered protection status. Category 3 civilization. You will provide resources and limited military service in exchange for guidance." The human delegation glanced at each other nervously, except for General Park, who had started smiling. "And if we decline?" asked President Song. The alien's 4 hands moved in complex patterns. "Declining is not an option typically considered. Perhaps a demonstration of imperial capability would help clarify your position." With a gesture, Rax activated a device on his wrist. On the large screens behind the delegation, they watched as a small island in the Pacific, uninhabited but for research equipment, rose 3 meters from the ocean before settling back down. The room fell silent for 5 seconds. Then General Park began laughing. "I'm sorry," she said between chuckles, "but did you just lift an island a little bit? As your big intimidation move?" High Commander Rax's translator couldn't quite convey his tone, but his posture stiffened. "We moved planetary mass with minimal effort. This demonstration was meant to show restraint while displaying power." Dr. Han was already examining readings on his tablet. "The energy requirements must be enormous," he whispered to his colleague. "But the application is inefficient. I wonder if—" Meanwhile, President Song maintained her diplomatic composure. "We appreciate your demonstration, High Commander. Earth would like time to consider your offer of protection. You have 3 of your Earth days," said Rax. "We will return for your answer, which we expect will be acceptance." As the alien delegation departed, General Park was already on her secure phone. "Did anyone else notice their ship's shield harmonics? I think we might be able to—" Back in orbit, First Lieutenant Dax reported to High Commander Rax. "The humans displayed unusual reactions, sir. Our threat assessment indicated they would show appropriate fear. Their scientists were analyzing our technology during the demonstration," Rax noted. And their military officer laughed. "Perhaps they don't understand the power we displayed." Rax looked at the blue planet below. "No, they understood. They simply weren't impressed. Prepare a full report for Imperial Command. These humans may require special handling." Meanwhile on Earth, the first memes about the island-moving aliens were already spreading across social networks. Slightly Moved Island was trending worldwide, with people suggesting other minor planetary adjustments the aliens might make next. No one was panicking anymore. Some were actually looking forward to the aliens' return. And in laboratories across the planet, scientists were already working to understand how the Imperial technology functioned. They weren't afraid. They were curious. 3 Earth days passed, quickly. The return of the Imperial ships was expected, but not the scale of their arrival. 24 vessels now surrounded Earth, their massive forms casting shadows over major cities as they hovered in low orbit. High Commander Rax didn't bother with the landing protocol this time. Instead, he transmitted his message globally, his 4-armed blue form appearing on screens worldwide. People of Earth, your consideration period has ended. The Galactic Empire requires your answer. In the hastily established United Earth response, Center President Song stood with representatives from every nation. The vote had been nearly unanimous. High Commander, she replied, her voice calm despite the tension. Earth respectfully declines protected status. We propose instead a mutual recognition treaty between independent powers. There was a pause in the transmission. When Rax's image returned, his normally composed features showed clear signs of confusion. Perhaps there is a translation error, he said. Your species cannot decline. It is not procedurally possible. General Park stepped forward. We just did. No translation error. Rax's 4 hands moved in complex patterns that his translation device didn't interpret. Finally, he spoke again. Earth will reconsider. To assist your understanding, we will demonstrate a fraction more of Imperial capability. Across Earth, people watched as 5 Imperial vessels moved into position over the Pacific Ocean. Energy beams connected them in a pentagon pattern. Within the pattern, the ocean began to churn. Director Han and his team monitored from the Science Center. They're creating some kind of standing wave in the atmosphere and ocean, he reported. Energy readings are off the charts. In the middle of the empty ocean, water rose in a perfect column 1 kilometer high and froze instantly into ice. The structure gleamed in the sunlight, a monument to Imperial power. This structure will remain for 3 of your days, Rax announced. When it falls, so too will your resistance. You may use this time to prepare for Imperial integration. The transmission ended. President Song turned to her advisors. Thoughts? General Park was already receiving reports from military satellites. Their ships used significant power for that display. 3 of them have moved to higher orbits, possibly to recharge. Their technology is remarkable, Director Han admitted, but not incomprehensible. The principles behind it are similar to our theoretical work. They're just centuries ahead in application. Young engineer Subin raised her hand timidly. Ma'am, I've been analyzing their communication protocols. They're actually not that secure. They never expected to need encryption against, well, us. President Song nodded. So they can build ice towers but can't secure their comms? They've never had to, explained Director Han. From what we can tell, all other species they've encountered surrendered immediately. What about the tower itself? Asked President Song. It's impressive, Director Han acknowledged, but ultimately just a very big ice sculpture. Our analysis shows it will melt naturally in about 6 days, not 3 as they claimed. General Park laughed. They don't even understand our planet's climate. Meanwhile, on social media, the ice tower had become an overnight sensation. Memes, comparing it to failed ice sculptures, flooded the internet. Several famous musicians announced plans for a concert for independence at the base of the tower. Thousands of boats were already heading toward it, despite government warnings. Aboard the Imperial command ship, First Lieutenant Dax reported to High Commander Rax. Sir, the humans are approaching the demonstration structure. To worship it? Asked Rax. No, sir. They appear to be taking pictures of themselves in front of it, and several are attempting to climb it. Rax stared at the monitor in disbelief. Have they no sense of self-preservation? No proper fear? There's more, sir. Dax continued uncomfortably. Our communications are experiencing intrusions. Impossible, Rax snapped. Their technology is primitive. As if in response, every screen on the bridge suddenly displayed an animated Earth cat dancing across their tactical displays. The giant ice tower stood in the Pacific for exactly 18 hours before things went wrong. Not because it melted, the structure remained perfectly solid. What changed was how people responded to it. Tour boats circled the massive ice formation, filled with excited tourists taking selfies. Live streaming drones hovered nearby, broadcasting the spectacle worldwide. Someone had even projected laser images onto the ice, mostly cats and memes about the aliens' failed intimidation tactics. High Commander Rax watched the feeds with growing anger. "This is unacceptable," he said to his officers. "Deploy the warning drones, clear that area immediately." 50 small Imperial drones descended from the command ship, surrounding the tour boats with threatening postures. A booming voice ordered all humans to leave the area. Captain Sun Ho Kim of the tour boat Ocean Explorer looked up at the hovering drones and smiled. He picked up his radio. "Attention, alien friends. Welcome to our party. Would you like to join us for some refreshments?" The Imperial drones hesitated, their programming not equipped for this response. Behind them, several tour boats were now launching their own small drones, consumer models equipped with speakers blasting K-pop music. The command center on land, President Song received the update. "They're deploying military assets against civilians," General Park reported. "Should we respond with force?" President Song considered. "No, let's see how our people handle it first." On her screen, she could see the strange dance unfolding at Imperial drones attempting to herd humans away, while tour boats deliberately moved in unpredictable patterns. Some people were actually waving and offering drinks to the alien machines. Aboard the Imperial command ship, First Lieutenant Dax reported with increasing distress. "Sir, the humans are not responding appropriately to our warning protocols, and our ship systems are experiencing more intrusions." As if to emphasize his point, the ship's emergency lighting suddenly activated, and music began playing through the communication system, the same K-pop songs the human drones were broadcasting. "Hi." Commander Rax slammed all four hands onto his control panel. "Enough! Deploy the water control system. Show them real power." The massive ship above the ice tower began charging its main energy weapon, but as power built up, warning signals flashed across their control panels. "Sir," called out the weapons. "Officer, something is interfering with the targeting system." On Earth, in a small room filled with computers, hacker Jin Woo smiled as his code took effect. "I'm in," he told Director Han via secure link. "Their systems are advanced, but their security is basically non-existent. They never expected anyone like us." Director Han relayed the information to President Song. "Our team has temporarily disabled their weapons, but they'll adapt quickly." In orbit, High Commander Rax was reaching the limit of his patience. "Launch landing craft. Send troops to secure the demonstration site. Any human who resists will be detained for re-education." 5 Imperial shuttles descended toward the ice tower. As they approached, however, the water around the tower suddenly erupted. Not from alien technology, but from 3 human submarines that had positioned themselves beneath the spectacle. The submarines didn't fire weapons. Instead, they sprayed massive plumes of colored water into the air, creating a rainbow effect around the ice tower. The Imperial shuttles paused in confusion. On the tour boats, people cheered. Someone had brought actual popcorn and was sharing it while watching the display. "Sir," First Lieutenant Dax said with something like fear in his voice, "I believe the humans are treating our military operation as entertainment." "High Commander," Rax stared at the scene below. His perfect ice tower now surrounded by colored water, his military drones being led in circles by singing tour boats, his landing craft frozen in indecision. "Recall all forces," he said quietly. "We need to reconsider our approach." As the Imperial forces retreated, the humans below broke into spontaneous applause, as if they had just witnessed the end of a spectacular show. In the command center, President Song watched the Imperial ships withdraw to higher orbit. "They'll be back," General Park said, "and angrier than before." "Yes," agreed President Song, "but now we know something important." "What's that?" She smiled. "They have absolutely no idea how to handle us." In the Great Hall of the Imperial flagship, High Commander Rax faced the Emperor's hologram with all four arms crossed in the gesture of profound respect. The massive blue figure of Emperor Zal filled the chamber with his presence, even as a projection from 50 light-years away. These humans refuse to behave as expected, Rax explained. Our demonstrations of power have been met with celebration. The Emperor's 6 eyes narrowed. Unacceptable. No species has ever resisted integration. Deploy military assets and establish a foothold. Show no weakness. As you command, Emperor. The transmission ended and Rax turned to his commanders. Prepare full invasion protocols. Target their military installations first. 2 days later, 500 Imperial dropships descended toward Earth. Their target, a military base outside Incheon, selected as the Empire's first foothold on the planet. General Sungmin waited calmly as alien ships filled the sky above his base. His soldiers stood ready, but not with fear in their eyes. Many were smiling. The dropships landed in perfect formation, disgorging thousands of Imperial soldiers in gleaming armor. Their leader, Commander Jin, strode forward with a translator device. This base is now under Imperial control. Surrender your weapons and prepare for processing. General Sung Min stepped forward, hands empty. We have a different suggestion. Before Commander Jin could respond, the ground beneath half the Imperial forces suddenly collapsed. Not from weapons fire, but from carefully planned tunnels that had been dug beneath the landing zone. Hundreds of alien soldiers tumbled into nets and soft barriers designed to capture rather than kill. What is the meaning of this? Commander Jin demanded. General Sung Min smiled. Just evening the odds a bit. The Imperial forces opened fire, but quickly discovered another problem. Their energy weapons, designed to be non-lethal for easy subjugation, barely affected the human soldiers who had wrapped their uniforms with simple materials that dispersed the energy. Their weapons' effectiveness is reduced by 70%, reported Captain Bo Young over the tactical net. They didn't expect us to understand their technology so quickly. Even more surprising to the Imperial forces was the human response. Rather than cowering or retreating, human soldiers advanced while making jokes. Hey, does this alien gun make me look fat? Called one soldier to another as they ducked behind cover. Not as much as that helmet makes you look bald, came the reply, followed by laughter as they continued firing. Commander Jin watched in growing horror as his perfect formation dissolved into chaos. This is not proper combat behavior. They should be afraid. In orbit, High Commander Rax received the disturbing reports. Sir, ground forces are facing unexpected resistance. The humans appear to be enjoying the conflict. Impossible. Rax snapped. Send reinforcements. But the reinforcements faced new problems. Earth's nations had united with remarkable speed, sharing technologies and tactics. When the second wave of dropships approached, they encountered a makeshift defense system cobbled together from satellite parts and modified radio towers. Half the ships veered off course, their navigation systems scrambled by signals they had never been programmed to counter. In his command center, Director Han watched with satisfaction. Simple frequency manipulation, he explained to President Song. Their ships are designed to intimidate, not to fight against technical creativity. By nightfall, the Imperial forces had established only a small perimeter, a fraction of their planned foothold. Worse, they found themselves surrounded by curious humans who kept trying to take selfies with captured Imperial technology. In a final indignity, several Imperial soldiers reported that their ration packs had been replaced with packages of spicy noodles and notes saying, "Try some real food." On the command ship, High Commander Rax faced an unthinkable decision. Order all forces to withdraw, he said quietly. Sir? First Lieutenant Dax questioned. The Emperor ordered. I know what he ordered. Rax slammed all four hands on the console. But these humans, they don't fight like any species we've encountered. They treat warfare like some kind of game. They laugh while fighting. Our psychological warfare has no effect. He stared at the blue planet below. We need to reassess everything we thought we knew about them. The summons to the Imperial Council came 6 weeks after the failed invasion of Earth. High Commander Rax entered the ancient chamber with dread weighing heavily on his 4 shoulders. The circular room held representatives from all 27 species of the Empire, with Emperor Zal at the center. "Explain your failure," the Emperor demanded, his voice echoing through the chamber. Rax bowed. "Great Emperor, the humans are different. Our usual methods proved ineffective." "Different how?" asked Counselor Treb, an insectoid being from the oldest Imperial species. "They responded to our power demonstrations with humor. They treated our military action as entertainment. And most disturbing of all, they adapted our technology at an unprecedented rate." On the giant view screen, images from Earth appeared. Human scientists reverse engineering Imperial devices. Human soldiers wearing modified versions of Imperial armor. Human children playing with toys modeled after Imperial ships. In 6 weeks, Rax continued, they've advanced their technology by nearly a century. Minister Lax, responsible for Imperial expansion, chittered angrily. "Impossible. No species has ever—" He was interrupted by the chamber doors opening. A human delegation entered, led by Ambassador Giho. Unlike the elaborate robes and regalia of the council members, he wore a simple blue suit with a small earth pin. "Greetings," he said calmly, as if addressing equals rather than the rulers of most of the known galaxy. Emperor Zal's eyes narrowed. "You were not invited to speak yet, human." "My apologies," Giho replied, not looking apologetic at all. "On Earth, we usually start meetings with friendly greetings. Cultural differences, I suppose." He stepped forward, pulling a small device from his pocket. The Imperial guards tensed, but he simply activated it, projecting a hologram of Earth. "We've studied your empire thoroughly now," he said. "Impressive achievements in space travel and energy manipulation, but remarkably stagnant for 1,000 years. No major innovations in centuries." Several council members shifted uncomfortably. "We, on the other hand," Giho continued, "have gone from horse-drawn carriages to spaceflight in a single century. Adaptation is what we do best." He pressed another button, and the hologram showed modified Imperial technology being integrated with human systems. "We've improved the efficiency of your energy converters by 30%, he said casually. "We'd be happy to share the upgrades." The council chamber erupted in shocked murmurs. Emperor Zal raised a massive hand for silence. "What do you want, human?" "A very simple thing," Giho replied. "Recognition as equals. Trade agreements. Cultural exchange. The same offer we made before your unfortunate military demonstration." Minister Lax rose from his seat. "This is outrageous. No species speaks to the Empire this way." Giho smiled. "Yet here we are speaking." From his seat, an elderly counselor named Vorn began to laugh, a raspy sound rarely heard in the formal chamber. "I like these humans," the ancient being declared. "They remind me of what our own species were like before we became so rigid in our thinking." Emperor Zal studied the human ambassador carefully. "You have caused the first military defeat of the Empire in 800 years. We prefer to think of it as introducing ourselves properly," Giho replied. "We brought gifts." At his gesture, his assistant stepped forward with containers. Inside were Earth foods, music recordings, artwork, and most puzzling to the council, a collection of joke books. "Humor," Giho explained, seeing their confusion. "Something we've noticed is somewhat lacking in Imperial culture." For a long moment, Emperor Zal was silent. Then, to everyone's shock, he reached for one of the joke books. "Perhaps," he said slowly, "the Empire has become too predictable, too stagnant." He looked at the human delegation. "You will teach us this humor, and we will see what else humans might teach the galaxy." 1 year later, the first human businesses opened on Imperial worlds. Human music played in alien clubs. Imperial citizens began adopting Earth fashion. Young aliens started using human slang to the horror of their elders. And in the Imperial Palace, Emperor Zal was heard to chuckle at a human joke for the first time in his 300-year life. The Empire hadn't conquered Earth, but perhaps Earth was quietly conquering the Empire, one laugh at a time.